What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 2 of Season 7 of the PPL, and this week we are up against Jacub and his Green Bay Pikachus. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, it helps us out a ton. And let's do more cool stuff for you guys, and please feel free to check out the TTM Discord. That will be linked in the description below. But anyway, on to the team. Like I said, we are up against Jacub and his Green Bay Pikachus, and he is also 1-0, so already have a battle of the undefeateds. I'm just kidding, it's week 2, but I mean, we technically are both still undefeated, so I was not lying in that regard. But either way, he has a very scary team of Megalodios, Tornadus T, Excadrill, Tapu Fini, Gigalith, Persian, Volcarona, Rotom, Virizion, Garbodor, and Wigglytuff, with Persian, Volcarona, and Wigglytuff being his Z users. Now, right off the bat, Wigglytuff's not coming. Like, straight up, Wigglytuff is almost guaranteed not to come because, let's be real, it is a Wigglytuff. That being said, Megalodios is terrifying, just because it can very easily run special sets, it can run a physical set, and I have to be prepared for both of those because my team is very, very susceptible to being absolutely destroyed by the right Megalodios set. So yeah, that's a lot of what my team is going to be centered around, is trying to deal with Megalodios in whatever form it may come. And then also, while Greninja can absolutely go in this match, thanks to Hydro Pump just obliterating stuff as well as my coverage, the fact that he has Fini, which is almost a complete stop to Greninja, like I have to run a physical gunk shot set in order to even do significant damage, and even then against my team he's going to be running Kebia due to Mega Gallade, Garchomp, and Greninja. So yeah, that's honestly not looking too great in that regard. And then he has the Sand Core, which I can deal with, but is still something that is very scary. So yeah, I mean, very terrifying team. That being said, I do think I have the proper tools in order to pressure and even potentially win this game. So starting off, we have my Mega Gallade with Sub, Poison Jab, Close Combat, and Rock Slide. Now, if I come in on something like Excadrill out of Sand, Gigalith, even like Rotom locked into a move, because if Rotom comes, it's going to be definitely a Choice Scarf set. I really don't see any other Rotom set coming against me. So if I can get Mega Gallade in on something that I force out, I can set up a sub, and then my coverage will be able to deal with any mon that he wants to go into. I mean, even Megalodios. Like, Megalodios would be the best switch into this set, and even that is susceptible to getting poisoned by the high chance of Poison Jab. So yeah, I mean, basically this Gallade can set up a sub and take something out, and really, like, I'm not expecting Gallade to do an excessive amount of work in this game. I just kind of want it to go 1-for-1 with something in order to really just allow the team to function and just break something to where the rest of the team can take advantage of the fact that that mon is gone. With Substitute, like I said, can set up on anything that I force out. Poison Jab, Close Combat, Rock Slide cover his team very, very nicely. The speed is enough speed to guaranteed outspeed Virizion, because if that thing Swords Dance, then it actually is a little bit annoying for me to deal with due to its speed tier and the fact that my Greninja, while it can outspeed Virizion, actually has very high Spit F. So yeah, that is the Mega Gallade set. And next up we have a Choice Scarf Garchomp, and this thing I have to be very, very careful with, just because locked into the wrong move, his team can definitely take advantage of it. So I really can only bring this thing in and attack with it when I have a spammable move. So really, when something is broken or something is removed, that allows me to spam one of my stabs or something else in my moveset. The moveset is going to be Dual Stab in Earthquake and Dragon Claw, Rock Slide to easily revenge kill the Volcarona, as that's something that's scary for my team as well, and then Poison Jab to try to finish off the Tapu Fini if it is weakened, because, I mean, once again, 100% going to be Kebia, so I can't just try to spam Poison Jab or anything like that. And then the Poison Chance, even though he does have Misty Terrain, is always nice on things like, I don't know, Megalodios or Torn T that might switch it. I don't know. Just basically, Poison Jab is good for Tapu Fini and potentially getting a poison if Misty Terrain isn't up. The speed is enough to guaranteed outspeed the Volcarona, as this is my main way of revenge killing it. And then I just maxed out attack and maxed out my EVs otherwise in the rest of my stats. Next up, we have an Expert Belt Greninja with Dark Pulse, HP Electric, Hydro Pump, and U-Turn. And quite frankly, this Greninja destroys his team if Tapu Fini is weakened. So if Tapu Fini is not Kebia, which I'm still 100% thinking it is, just because of the poison pressure that my team can put on. That means it'll be easier to weaken it into range where Greninja can pick it off with HP Electric and then just start spamming Hydro Pump and Dark Pulse as the dual stab of Greninja absolutely wrecks his team. And then I also have U-turn on there for just nice momentum, be able to like Hydro Pump the incoming Finny, and then U-turn on out if he wants to try to double to take advantage of the Greninja switching out, then I will get switch advantage with the U-turn, and I really, like, I could use the extra coverage, but U-turn was just so nice for this matchup, just to be able to get momentum. And then also if I come in on Mega Latios, I will be able to threaten that thing out with super effective Dark Pulse, and even if he stays in, well, that's still an Expert Belt boosted U-turn that it is taking, so it's still taking damage even if he does predict me correctly. The speed is enough to guaranteed outspeed Tornadus T. I honestly just went max, and then Naive for U-turn to be able to do a little bit extra damage to Mega Latios in particular, but also anything that wants to come and switch in on Greninja as I go for the U-turn. I opted for HP Electric over anything else just because Finny is a super obvious switch into Greninja, and Finny is something that stands in the way of Garchomp and Mega Gallade, but in particular Garchomp. The sooner I can get rid of that thing, the sooner I can spam Dragon Claw, which does a lot of work against his team. So being able to nail that thing with an HP Electric, while it only does like 35% to a max HP variant, that's still 35% that he's probably not getting back, so definitely worth it in my opinion. As for the next Pokemon, we have a Volt Switch, Heat Wave, Roost, Defog, Chartyberry, Zapdos. This thing is my Excadrill answer-ish, because I mean I'm still an offensive set because offensive Zapdos also does a lot of work against his team and puts on a ton of pressure. But that being said, Excadrill's enough of a threat to where Charty Zapdos is necessary in order to try to take that thing on, so it's not able to just sweep me. Volt Switch and Heat Wave are really all the coverage I need just because I want to get momentum on things like Finny and Tornadus, just be able to Volt Switch out. And then the only thing that he can switch into that would be immune to Volt Switch is Excadrill, which just gets bopped by Heat Wave unless he runs a pretty good amount of defense. I mean, like, he doesn't have to run, or special defense rather, he doesn't have to run that much bulk in order to take it, but it still requires a good amount of bulk for him to be able to take a Heat Wave from a fully invested Zapdos, so that is pretty nice. The speed is enough for Excadrill, and then just maxed out my special attack and maximized my EVs. Otherwise, Defog is because he has the Garbodor, and he could very easily try to spike stack against me, as he does have reliable spin in Excadrill. So while unlikely, that's still just something that I want to keep in the back of my mind and still have something to deal with the fact that he might try to spike stack me, because if he tries to spike stack and I'm able to defog that away, then Garbodor is essentially a dead mon against me. So it's just a 6v5, which I will take 100% of the time. Next up, we have my Mega Latios answer in back-to-back weeks taking on Latios. So Metagross, you know what you got to do. But this one is an Assault Vest set with a good amount of defense with Meteor Mash, Pursuit, Rock Tomb, and Earthquake. And this might seem a little bit weird of a set as I don't have Bullet Punch, but really I needed every single one of these moves. Meteor Mash is for even just adequate damage against the Mega Latios, just so if it's a bulky set, it can't just easily set up on me. Meteor Mash will do a good chunk to where eventually I will get an attack raise and be able to pressure it even more. Just basically I'm not 100% relying on the attack raise for Metagross to be able to check Latios. Pursuit is also to be able to take that thing out, but also get chip damage on things like Rotom, potentially take that out, Tornadus trying to U-turn out, just other things that might be trying to switch out, particularly the Latios. Sorry about that, accidentally turned off my sound, but I mean, that doesn't matter as long as my mic is still on. But yeah, Pursuit is to mainly just trap the Latios, take that thing out, because the sooner I can get rid of that thing, the better. Rock Tomb is so a Dragon Dance Latios is not able to set up on Metagross, as if Meteor Mash is not doing enough, as he might be a super bulky Mega Latios. And then Earthquake is so Excadrill can't just come in and try to set up all over me. It has to think twice about Earthquake. I mean, I still get smacked by a fully invested Excadrill, but that's not too huge of a deal. The investment is enough defense to avoid an Adamant, non-boosted Excadrill's KO from Earthquake after rocks, but I mean, if he's like Adamant Soft Sand, then that will definitely, or Adamant Life Orb, Adamant Earthquake, or I think even, I might be able to live, no, I'm not living Jolly Life Orb, it is just Adamant non-boosted, I will be able to live after rocks. Just kind of a decent benchmark. It also allows me to take on Physical Latios a little bit better, and then enough Speed F to avoid 2-hit KO from Shadow Ball from Lati after Rocks, and then just 4 in speed because I had 4 left over and was like, screw it, let's do this. And finally, we have, once again, a Normalium Z Diancie with Heal Bell, Dual Stab in Diamond Storm and Moonblast, and then Stealth Rock. This thing is mainly my Volcarona check, but also just because Moonblast is nice and spammable against the team, does a good chunk. Excadrill comes in, but I do have Zapdos to be able to take that thing on, and Excadrill doesn't like taking hits by any stretch of the imagination, so just kind of works out very nicely. Heal Bell is to just be able to, like, heal up back to full health, because 2 Diancies makes this a lot easier to deal with. The special defense is enough to live a modest Z Giga Drain from Volcarona after Rocks. Granted, I can't live a +1 Z Giga Drain, but just a modest Z Giga Drain or a +1 modest Giga Drain, I will be able to live and KO back with Diamond Storm. So yeah, that's the team. Talked for way too long. Let's just go ahead and hop right on into the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that there is no Mega Latios, so all of the prep that I had dedicated to it is just kinda gone flush, but at the same time, I mean, that's one less thing that I have to worry about, so I mean, that's good at the very least. But he did bring both the Sand Core, like, basically, he brought, I mean, to be fair, a lot of his stuff, like, I didn't want to see, but yeah, he brought all the threatening stuff that wasn't named Mega Latios. So that being said, I am just going to lead off with my Diancie turn 1, get up my Rocks, and go from there. So let's just hop right on into it. So like I said, I'm going to be leading off with my Diancie, as it has a pretty good matchup against anything not named Excadrill. I mean, even Finny, while less than ideal, is still not overly threatening, as he actually does end up leading with the Finny, and I'm just like, okay, this thing 100% has defog, so that's just going to be a little bit annoying to try to play around. That being said, I'm not going to want to take a Nature's Madness right off the bat, because I mean, that would be what he goes for, or at least a taunt, as he actually ends up going for the knockoff. Now, interestingly enough, did not know that Tapu Fini got knockoff. I mean, that's just because I never really think about drafting it, but either way, that's just kind of inexcusable that I didn't know that it got knockoff, but whatever, it happens. But at this point, I'm going to go for the Volt Switch. The only thing he has that's immune to it is the Excadrill, and Exca's not going to want to come in on a basically full health Zapdos. He goes into Rotom, and I'm thinking, okay, no matter what this Rotom is, I can use it to get my Rocks up with my Diancie, which is exactly what I go into and is exactly what I'm going to do. He gets a crit, which sucks a little bit, means I can take just a few, that I can only take a few less hits from his team. But on the bright side, I still have 100 HP left. I'm still able to get up my Stealth Rocks as he goes back into his Finny, and I'm pretty sure his thought process at this point is whenever Diancie is in, bring Finny in on it and just go immediately for the defog, which I mean makes sense. He has the Tornadus and the Volcarona. But that being said, I'm just going to try to chip down this Tapu Fini, get an idea of what type of item it has by going for the Moonblast, and that does a decent amount of damage, which shows that he is max HP, more than likely very defensive. As now, I'm just going to go ahead and switch out. So basically, I just wanted to figure out if it has leftovers or not, and it doesn't, so that tells me that it's going to be 100% Kebia. Go into my Zapdos, he makes a good play, goes for the Nature's Madness. I mean, to be fair, that would have done a good chunk to Diancie as well. And at this point, I'm thinking he doesn't have Moonblasters, or he does have Moonblast, he doesn't have Surf. But now, at this point, with my Zapdos in, could easily go for the Volt Switch just to get momentum once again, but I'm getting a little bit low. I want to be able to come in on the Excadrill, as that's mainly what Zapdos is for. So I'm going to Roost Up as he goes into his Gigalith, and I'm going to Volt Switch out, see what type of damage this does, and that does nothing. I really, like, this is what I don't like about Wi-Fi. I really would have liked to have gotten an idea of what type of Assault Vest set he was by getting a little more idea of the damage that the Volt Switch did. But I mean, it's 100% Assault Vest, just having trouble determining whether it's Spadef in Assault Vest or just like max HP Assault Vest. But regardless, I'm going to go into my Gallade at this point. Mega Evolve, go for the sub. He's not going to want to sack off his Gigalith this early, especially when Excadrill seems to be such a threat against my team, particularly with my Zapdos' Charty Berry gone. So I'm just going to Mega Evolve. Yes, the Sandstorm is up, but by my calculations, wow, that was probably one of the nerdier things that I've said. Basically, based on what I've seen, the Sandstorm will end before I'm able to get knocked out through my sub. Wow, I should have just like pushed up my glasses and been like, based on my calculations. But regardless, he goes into his Thundurus as I do get the sub up, and what this means is I will actually be able to Rock Slide this Tornadus, and depending on the set, I might be able to knock it out with Sand. Turns out he is a Life Orb Tornadus, so yeah, that's 100% Life Orb plus Sand plus Rock Slide, gonna be able to knock that thing out. And while Gallade is at very, very, very low health, I believe I will be at, yeah, I'm at 4 HP now. But luckily the Sand will end this coming turn, so that's not something that I really have to worry about. But again, Gallade's super low. I got it to go 1-for-1, took out the Tornadus. That is great for me. So I'm just going to sack it off, figure out what type of Rotom set this is, as it actually turns out that this Rotom is Scarfed. I mean, I kind of suspected that, but I just wanted the confirmation. But now, because the Rotom is in and is locked into Shadow Ball, I'll be able to go into my Greninja and fire off a Hydro Pump. But because I'm thinking, okay, Finny is probably going to come in. He doesn't want anything taking a Hydro Pump. I'm going to fire off the Hidden Power Electric. Maybe 2-hit KO this Finny, see what type of damage it does. And unfortunately, it looks like he has enough bulk to be able to not be 2-hit KO'd by E-Belt HP Electric. So just going to go for the U-turn, guaranteed put the Finny in range of HP Electric later in the game so Greninja can come in and spam. And plus, I always have the switch into Zapdos, which even though he can go for Nature's Madness, I mean, it's not the end of the world for me. Like, I'll still be in a pretty decent position as Zapdos has a good amount of HP, and I will be able to just switch out or take advantage of whatever he goes into. So at this point, I could Roost again, but I'm thinking that he'll try to take advantage and go into Gigalith once again, and I don't have my Gallade anymore. So I'm going to go offensive, go for the Volt Switch as it hits the Volcarona, and go into my Greninja, and at this point, a Hydro Pump is completely free. Gonna be able to 1-hit KO, if not 2-hit KO something. Finny cannot come in as it doesn't have lefties. I can almost all but guarantee that it's not a Pinch Berry, as it's probably Kebia. So I'm just gonna go for the Hydro Pump right now. And you know what I said earlier about not being able to see the rolls? Well, that is definitely going to come into play now, because I can't tell if this is a 2-hit KO. I'm just going to go straight for it, as I unfortunately miss, and he luckily over-predicts and just goes for Earthquake. But I'm thinking that, okay, this has got to be a 2-hit KO on the Gigalith. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, this is easy, definitely going to knock it out this coming turn. If anything, like, I can take the Earthquake. It's not a huge deal as it actually wastes another turn of Sand. But as it turns out, Gigalith lives with a sliver of HP, so yeah, the fact that I cannot tell exact rolls is really coming back to bite me, because what I would have just done is U-turned out and sacked off something, but unfortunately, this means that my Greninja goes down, and Greninja is a gigantic threat against his team, so that is a huge, that sucks for me. But what this does mean is that I can go into my Metagross. Even if the Gigalith wants to stay in, I will be able to knock it out with Pursuit. And because Sand is slowly wearing down, I believe this is the last turn of Sand, that means that Excadrill is much less of a threat. So yeah, Greninja goes down because of the miss, and because I can't tell rolls as it actually turned out. I got a Min Roll the first time. But yeah, blessing in disguise, as Excadrill will not be able to outspeed my entire team. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake as opposed to switching out, because first of all, Metagross doesn't help a whole lot, and I was thinking that Excadrill would either Swords Dance up or go for something like the Stealth Rock, which he does, and I'm able to get huge damage off. I'm going to stay in again, as anything but Adamant boosting item Earthquake will not be able to take me out, which turns out he's actually Adamant Soft Sand, so I was like, huh, well, there goes Metagross. But now this game is coming down to the wire. I'm going to go into my Zapdos, and I'm just going to fire off a Heat Wave. I want this Excadrill gone so that Diancie actually can potentially clutch the game due to having Z Heal Bell, and Rotom not being able to trick me, Volcarona going down in one hit, and not even being able to hit me that hard. So yeah, Diancie has the potential to clutch a game, and even Garchomp, if I'm able to get certain mons of his low enough. So he goes for the Shadow Ball, knocks out my Zapdos. I'm taking this as an opportunity to go into my Diancie, and it's kind of a 50-50 right now, because Shadow Ball can be a 2-hit KO. Actually, it's not quite a guaranteed 2-hit KO. I believe it's a roll to 2-hit KO. So it's a matter of, okay, do I just attack, predicting him to go into the Finny and then save my Z Heal Bell for later, or do I just straight up go for it? I'm thinking that, okay, if I can play it safe, if I play it safe and I knock out the Finny eventually, then Garchomp, even if the Rotom is HP Ice, can potentially win the game with Rock Slide if I connect on all of them. So right now my game plan, get rid of this Finny, chip down everything else. And I mean, the Finny, like, it's not, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that I need to 100% get rid of it for the guaranteed win. I just need to put myself in a good enough position to where Rock Slide can finish it off. Whether that's him switching out into the Rotom and Finny coming back in, taking rocks, and then a Rock Slide, well, then that's what has to be done. So I'm going to go for the rocks. Force the Finny to not just be able to repeatedly go for Nature's Madness, force him to go for Rock Slide, because maybe if I can get the Volcarona low enough, then my Garchomp will be able to just Dragon Claw through, and I won't have to risk the Rock Slide. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, as he does just defog away my rocks, as Diancie is going to take out this Tapu Fini with a Moonblast. So it's really, really coming down to the wire at this point. It's, can Garchomp hit all of his Rock Slides? Because if I do, then I will be able to win the game. Volcarona is going to come in, and yeah, had it come in on rocks, I would have been able to knock it out with just Dragon Claw. Then again, I would have risked the Flame Body. But he's just going to go for his Z move, as it basically reveals to me that he does not have the Giga Drain, which he 100% would have gone for at this point. I mean, I guess it was just kind of a, okay, I'm going to claim a KO this turn. If you want to try to save differential or something by switching into Garchomp, then Garchomp will go down, or I don't know. But either way, like that, if he did have Giga Drain, which he ended up not having, then Z-Bug Buzz was his only way of knocking out my Diancie. But what this does mean is Garchomp's going to come in, and it is all down to whether or not Garchomp can connect on all of his Rock Slides. Now, flashing back to the Greninja, when Greninja missed, that was very, very unfortunate, as I got an absolute min-roll on the Gigalith. Man, these rolls are not going in my favor lately. Into a miss, which caused Greninja to go down. So, I mean, it'd be really nice to have Greninja right now, as it would be able to take a Shadow Ball from the Rotom, and I'd have the guaranteed win with Dark Pulse, as opposed to having to rely on Rock Slide. Luckily, I connect for knocking out the Volcarona. I connect on this one, which is going to bring the Rotom low. He's going to go for HPIs, and this has to crit in order to knock me out, which it doesn't, and the match comes down to whether or not I connect this last Rock Slide, which I luckily do, and we are able to take the Rotom out and win the game. So yeah, Garchomp picked up the glasses that Greninja apparently lost, hit all of its Rock Slides, and we were able to clutch that game. So big shout outs to Jacub on, quite frankly, what was one heck of a game. I mean, that was back and forth until the very end. Just luckily, Scarf Chomp was able to come in and hit all of its Rock Slides, 2-hit KO the Rotom with the prior damage that I had gotten on it with Volt Switch, and really just every single turn mattered in that game. And so I was very, very glad that I was able to come through with the win, even despite the miss and the low roll from Greninja, which would have really, really been nice late game, just firing off Hydro Pumps and claiming KOs. But regardless, we take the win. That's what matters. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Check out Jacub. I will link his channel in the comment section, or in the description down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.